There are moments when heaven speaks not in thunder but in certainty, not in noise but in settled assurance. And this is one of those moments. When God declares that the battle is over, He is not announcing exhaustion, He is announcing authority. Victory in the kingdom does not come because the enemy surrendered. It comes because God decreed an end. Long before you felt relief in your emotions, heaven had already rendered a verdict. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Stillness is not weakness. It is confidence in a finished work. You have walked through nights where prayer felt heavy and hope felt delayed, where love seemed contested and clarity seemed distant. You questioned whether standing firm was worth the cost, whether obedience would truly be honored, whether patience would eventually produce peace. But God does not measure battles the way humans do. While you were counting days, He was shifting hearts. While you were asking questions, He was closing doors the enemy used for access. While you were waiting for signs, He was dismantling resistance behind the scenes. Spiritual warfare is rarely loud at the point of victory. Often it ends quietly, decisively, without spectacle. That is because the real conflict happens in realms unseen. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age. Ephesians 6:12. The tension you felt was never just emotional, it was spiritual. The opposition you sensed was not imaginary, it was resistance against purpose. But resistance does not determine outcome. Authority does. God never allowed this battle to define you, He allowed it to refine you. The struggle was not evidence that love was wrong, but proof that it was valuable. Anything that carries destiny attracts contention. Anything God seals draws opposition. But opposition is not a sign of loss. It is often the announcement that victory is near. After you have suffered a little while, He will restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. 1 Peter 5:10. You were never fighting to win God's approval. You were standing from a place of covenant. Love ordained by God does not survive because of emotion alone. It survives because it is anchored in purpose. Purpose outlasts confusion. Purpose endures delay. Purpose remains standing when feelings fluctuate. This is why God kept calling you back to trust, back to obedience, back to stillness. He knew what He had already settled. There were moments when you felt misunderstood, when others advised you to quit, to let go, to move on without waiting for God's timing. But divine love is not rushed by pressure. It unfolds according to heaven's order. Abraham waited years for Isaac, not because God forgot, but because promise requires preparation. Preparation is not punishment. It is proof of intention. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. You learned in this season that fighting spiritually does not always mean speaking louder or praying harder. Sometimes it means remaining obedient when emotions demand reaction. Sometimes it means forgiving when pride wants defense. Sometimes it means trusting God's silence more than the enemy's noise. Jesus won the greatest victory in history not by shouting at the cross, but by surrendering on it. It is finished. John 19:30 was not a cry of defeat, but a declaration of completion. God watched every tear you prayed through, every moment you chose faith over fear, every time you refused to retaliate and instead chose righteousness. None of it was wasted. Heaven records obedience. Your labor in the Lord is not in vain. 1 Corinthians 15:58. When God says you won, He is not only referring to the outcome, He is affirming the way you stood. This victory did not come because circumstances suddenly became easy. It came because your posture became aligned. Alignment invites intervention. When your heart aligned with God's will, heaven moved with precision. Angels respond to obedience more than emotion. Are they not all ministering spirits sent forth to minister for those who will inherit salvation? Hebrews 1:14. You may not have seen the movement, but you felt the shift. The enemy's greatest strategy was not to destroy the love, but to exhaust your faith. He wanted you tired enough to compromise, discouraged enough to doubt, wounded enough to walk away prematurely. But God strengthened you at the point of weariness. My grace is sufficient for you, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Weakness did not disqualify you, it positioned you for grace. This was never a competition between two people's will. It was a confrontation between obedience and interference. God does not override human choice, but He does remove spiritual hindrance. When He says the battle is over, it means resistance has lost permission. It means confusion no longer has authority. It means delay has served its purpose. You are stepping into a season where peace replaces striving, where clarity replaces confusion, where assurance replaces anxiety. Peace is not the absence of challenge, it is the presence of alignment. Jesus said, "My peace I give to you, not as the world gives," John 14:27. Worldly peace depends on control. Kingdom peace depends on trust. You may notice that your heart feels lighter, your prayers feel calmer, your expectations feel steadier. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. When God resolves a matter in the spirit, the soul begins to catch up. Healing often follows victory, not precedes it. You are not returning to the same place you were before the battle. You are returning wiser, steadier, more discerning. You now recognize the cost of love and the value of patience. You understand that what God joins together cannot be separated by interference, only delayed for preparation. What God has joined together, let no one separate. Mark 10:9. This love survived not because it was easy, but because it was covered by prayer, covered by grace, covered by timing, covered by God's hand. And when God covers something, He also completes it. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Philippians 1:6. As you stand here now, do not rehearse the pain of the battle more than the faithfulness of God. Do not let memory of resistance overshadow the reality of victory. The season that tested you is ending, and the season that honors obedience is unfolding. You are not stepping into uncertainty, you are stepping into alignment. And alignment always produces peace, clarity, and forward movement as the journey continues. Because when God settles a matter, He does not revisit it, and when heaven closes a chapter, it does not reopen it for debate. What you are stepping into now is not a fragile peace that can be easily shaken, but a rooted assurance that has been forged through endurance. Endurance produces character, and character produces hope that does not disappoint. Romans 5:3-5. This hope is different. It is not built on wishful thinking, but on divine resolution. You may still feel echoes of the battle in your emotions, because the soul often lags behind spiritual reality. Victory is declared in the spirit before it is fully experienced in the heart. This is why God now invites you to renew your mind, to align your thoughts with what He has already completed. Be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2 is not a suggestion, it is a strategy. The enemy cannot reverse what God has finished, but he will attempt to distort how you perceive it. Do not be surprised if old fears try to resurface, whispering that what you endured could happen again. Fear speaks in hypotheticals, but faith rests in promises. God does not repeat battles that have already served their purpose. He does not rehearse what He has resolved. When Israel crossed the Red Sea, the waters did not reopen for another confrontation. The same waters that delivered them drowned what pursued them. What chased you cannot follow you into this next season. You are learning that spiritual closure is just as real as spiritual victory. Closure does not always come through explanation. It comes through peace. Peace is the evidence that God has finished working behind the scenes. You no longer need to analyze every delay or revisit every wound to understand what happened. Understanding is not always required for healing. Trust often heals what explanation cannot. This is the season where God teaches you how to love without fear. Fear was a byproduct of warfare, not a feature of love. Perfect love casts out fear, 1 John 4:18. As the battle ends, fear loses its legal ground. Love now has room to breathe, to grow, to mature without constant defense. Love guarded by God does not need to be guarded by anxiety. You may notice that your prayers are shifting. You are no longer praying for protection from loss, but for wisdom to steward what has been preserved. This is a sign of transition. Warfare prayers sound different from stewardship prayers. Warfare cries out for intervention. Stewardship listens for instruction. God is not calling you to fight for this love anymore. He is teaching you how to care for it. There is a tenderness returning to your heart that once felt too risky to allow. You learned how to be strong in the battle, but now God is teaching you how to be gentle in the peace. Strength protected you then. Gentleness will preserve you now. Jesus described himself as gentle and lowly in heart, yet no one walked in greater authority. Authority does not diminish gentleness. It gives it safety. You are also becoming aware that not everyone who witnessed the struggle will understand the outcome. Some people only know you by your survival mode. They may not recognize you in your rest. Do not allow their unfamiliarity to pull you back into old patterns. You are not required to prove victory. You are invited to live in it. The temptation after warfare is to remain hypervigilant, to watch for threats that no longer have permission. But God is inviting you into trust again. Trust does not mean ignoring wisdom. It means releasing suspicion. Wisdom discerns. Suspicion accuses. One protects love, the other poisons it. God is also healing how you see him through this process. There were moments when you wondered why he allowed the fight to last so long, but now you are beginning to see that he was not absent, he was intentional. Delay was not neglect, it was alignment. He was synchronizing hearts, timing, and purpose, so that when peace arrived, it would remain. You are stepping into a kind of love that is no longer driven by urgency. Urgency belongs to fear. This love moves with patience because patience has been learned. You now know the cost of rushing what God is refining. You now understand that timing is not an obstacle to love, it is its protection. What once felt fragile is becoming stable. What once felt uncertain is becoming anchored. Anchors are not visible on the surface, but they determine whether a vessel drifts. God has anchored this wove in truth, not emotion alone. Truth does not fluctuate. Truth sustains when feelings are tested. You are also recognizing how much this battle matured you individually. God did not only fight for the relationship, he worked within you. You are less reactive, more discerning, less defensive, more grounded, less dependent on reassurance, more confident in God's word. This maturity is part of the victory. Do not underestimate the power of what God has just completed. Spiritual battles over love are not small matters because love reflects God's nature. The enemy resists anything that mirrors covenant. Covenant is unbreakable agreement, and the enemy despises permanence because he thrives on instability. What God has stabilized now threatens the enemy's influence. You may sense a new responsibility resting on you, a quiet awareness that what you carry must be handled with care. Responsibility is not pressure, it is trust. God does not entrust careless hearts with resolved victories. He entrusts those who have learned restraint, prayer, and humility. This season will require you to walk by faith in a different way. Faith during warfare looks like endurance. Faith after victory looks like obedience. Obedience will now guide your decisions, your communication, your expectations. Love that has survived battle must be stewarded intentionally. There will be moments when you are tempted to bring old weapons into a new season. Overthinking, self-protection, emotional withdrawal. Thought those tools were for survival, not for growth. God is gently inviting you to lay them down. To everything there is a season. Ecclesiastes 3:1. What was necessary then may hinder you now. You are not being asked to forget what you learned. You are being asked not to live there anymore. Memory can inform wisdom without dictating fear. The past can instruct without imprisoning. God redeems history so it no longer controls destiny. As you move forward, you will feel moments of quiet gratitude rise unexpectedly. Gratitude is the soul recognizing grace. It is the heart acknowledging that what it could not fix, God resolved. Gratitude keeps victory sacred. Gratitude keeps love humble. You are also learning that victory does not mean the absence of effort. It means effort without resistance. Effort now produces fruit instead of frustration. Conversations that once felt heavy will feel clearer. Decisions that once felt confusing will feel directed. This is the fruit of alignment. God is teaching you how to walk in agreement with Him rather than anticipation of trouble. Agreement says, I trust what you have done. Anticipation of trouble says, I expect something to go wrong. Agreement invites peace. Fear invites tension. This love is no longer being contested, it is being cultivated. Cultivation requires patience, consistency, and care. God is not rushing this next phase because growth must be sustained. Sudden growth without roots collapses under pressure. God is establishing roots. You may not fully understand how everything resolved, but understanding is not required for obedience. Obedience trusts the character of God more than the clarity of circumstances. The secret things belong to the Lord. Deuteronomy 2:9-29. Some victories are meant to be lived, not analyzed. As this season unfolds, you will find that joy returns in small, quiet ways, not the loud excitement of anticipation, but the steady warmth of assurance. Joy is the companion of peace. Where peace settles, joy follows. You are no longer standing at the edge of uncertainty. You are standing on settled ground, and settled ground allows you to build. What God has ended now makes room for what He is about to begin, not in haste, not in fear, but in order, grace, and steady forward movement as you continue walking in trust, obedience, and quiet confidence, allowing this new chapter to unfold one faithful step at a time. And as you continue to walk forward on this settled ground, you will notice that God is teaching you how to live without bracing for impact. For so long, your spirit learned how to anticipate resistance, how to prepare for disappointment, how to guard itself against sudden shifts. That posture kept you standing during the battle, but now God is gently retraining your heart to rest while moving, to trust while building, to hope without flinching. This transition can feel unfamiliar because peace requires vulnerability, and vulnerability requires trust. Trust is no longer theoretical for you. It has been tested in fire, refined through waiting, and proven through endurance. You trusted God when answers were delayed, when emotions were stretched, when outcomes were unclear. That trust has now matured into confidence. Not confidence in circumstances, but confidence in God's nature. Those who know your name will put their trust in you. Psalm 9:10. Knowing God changes how you expect life to unfold. There is a sacred recalibration happening within you. Your nervous system, your thoughts, your prayers are all adjusting to a new rhythm. You are no longer praying from desperation, but from alignment. You are no longer asking God to defend what He has already secured. Instead, you are learning how to listen for wisdom, how to move with discernment, how to respond rather than react. This is the posture of someone who understands that victory has already been established. You may find yourself occasionally tempted to revisit old questions. Why it took so long, why it hurt so deeply, why it unfolded the way it did. But God is not calling you to live in post-battle analysis. Reflection can inform wisdom, but fixation can delay movement. The enemy cannot undo what God has done, but he will try to keep your attention anchored to what is already resolved. God is inviting your focus forward. Forward does not mean rushed. Forward means intentional. God is not accelerating this season to make up for lost time. He does not compensate by compressing maturity. He builds carefully because what He is protecting is valuable. Love that has survived warfare must now learn how to thrive in peace. Thriving requires consistency, not intensity. You are also discovering that peace exposes things that battle concealed. In warfare, adrenaline masks fatigue. In peace, weariness becomes visible. God may now invite you into deeper rest, emotional honesty, and healing at layers you could not access while fighting. This is not regression, it is restoration. He restores my soul. Psalm 23:3 often happens after the valley, not during it. restoring your capacity to enjoy without suspicion, to hope without fear, to love without armor. Armor was necessary when arrows were flying. Armor is heavy when there is no war. God does not want you weighed down by defenses you no longer need. The same God who taught you how to stand firm is now teaching you how to lay things down. As you learn this, you may notice moments of emotional release, unexpected tears, sudden gratitude, quiet joy. These are signs that your soul is catching up with what your spirit already knows. Healing often feels like relief, not excitement. Relief is the body acknowledging safety again. You are also stepping into a season where discernment replaces suspicion. Discernment listens before it concludes. Suspicion assumes before it understands. Discernment is calm. Suspicion is anxious. God is refining your perception so that you can see clearly without projecting fear. On to the present. This clarity will affect how you communicate. You will speak more thoughtfully, listen more patiently, and respond more wisely. Words spoken from peace carry authority without force. A soft answer turns away. Wrath, Proverbs 15:1, is not weakness, it is mastery. You are also becoming aware that the enemy no longer has the same access to your emotional landscape. Where he once used confusion, he now finds clarity. Where he once used fear, he now encounters trust. Where he once exploited delay, he now faces patience. These are signs that the battle is truly over, because access has been revoked. God is also aligning timing in ways you could not orchestrate. Conversations feel different. Doors open naturally. Resistance fades without explanation. This is what happens when spiritual opposition is removed. What once required effort now flows with grace. Grace does not mean ease, it means divine enablement. You are not being carried into this next season. You are being partnered with God in it. Partnership requires attentiveness. God will continue to lead, but He will also invite your cooperation. Obedience now will look less dramatic but more consistent. Consistency is how peace is protected. There may be moments when you are tempted to test the victory, to see if resistance still exists. But God is not asking you to verify what He has already declared. Faith accepts completion without proof. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. John 20:29. Belief now looks like rest. You are also learning that not everyone will celebrate this resolution with you. Some people only connect with you in crisis. They may not know how to relate to you in peace. Do not let their discomfort draw you back into old narratives. You are not obligated to relive pain to maintain connection. God is teaching you to set boundaries that protect peace without isolating love. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors with discernment. They allow what is healthy to enter and keep what is harmful out. This is wisdom, not selfishness. As peace settles, your identity stabilizes. You are no longer defined by the battle you survived, but by the obedience you maintained. Survival is not your testimony. Faithfulness is. Faithfulness speaks louder than drama. You are also becoming more tuned to God's timing in smaller things, when to speak, when to wait, when to move, when to rest. These quiet obediences sustain long-term fruit. Big victories are preserved by small decisions. God may now bring opportunities to rebuild what felt paused. Dreams, plans, expressions of joy. Rebuilding does not mean starting over, it means continuing from a stronger foundation. What you build now will not be as fragile as what existed before, because it is informed by wisdom gained through endurance. You are also learning how to recognize peace as confirmation. Peace is not apathy. Peace is alignment. When your spirit rests, it is often because heaven has agreed. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts. Colossians 3:15. Rule means govern. Peace now governs your decisions. You are not expected to forget the lessons of the battle. Those lessons will guide discernment, humility, and gratitude. But you are not meant to carry the emotional weight of a season that has ended. God closes seasons so new ones can breathe. As this new chapter continues to unfold, you will sense a steadiness replacing intensity, a quiet confidence replacing urgency, a deep assurance replacing anxiety. This is not stagnation, this is establishment. God establishes what He resolves. You are not standing on fragile ground. You are standing on a word God has spoken, and God does not speak carelessly. When He says the battle is over, it means He has secured the outcome, removed interference, and aligned the future. What remains now is walking forward, step by step, in trust, obedience, humility, and quiet expectancy, allowing love to grow, mature, and express itself freely as God continues to lead, guide, and unfold what He has already prepared. And in this unfolding, God is also teaching you how to recognize His voice in peace, just as clearly as you once recognized it in pressure. Many believers learn to hear God only in crisis, only when desperation sharpens attention, only when pain forces prayer. But maturity learns to hear Him in calm waters, in ordinary moments, in quiet obedience. Elijah did not find God in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire, but in the still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. That voice is guiding you now. You may notice that God is less dramatic in this season, not because He is less present, but because you are more attuned. When alignment is established, instruction does not need intensity. Peace allows clarity. Clarity allows precision. Precision allows fruitfulness. This is where trust becomes embodied rather than confessed. You no longer have to remind yourself that God is faithful. Your nervous system begins to agree. Your reactions soften. Your expectations stabilize. You stop scanning the horizon for threats and start noticing provision in front of you. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Psalm 23:6 becomes lived reality, not hopeful poetry. God is also reordering how you interpret silence. Silence is no longer absence, it is often affirmation. When God is silent after a battle, it is not because He has disengaged, but because He has nothing left to correct. Silence after instruction means alignment has been achieved. A good shepherd does not shout at sheep that are already following. You are learning to walk without constant reassurance. Reassurance was necessary when uncertainty dominated. Now confidence grows from consistency. God is consistent. His character does not fluctuate. When you anchor to who He is rather than what He does, stability follows naturally. This season will also teach you patience of a different kind. Not the patience that waits for some thing to happen, but the patience that sustains what has begun. Waiting patience endures delay. Sustaining patience protects growth. Both are spiritual disciplines, but the latter requires greater maturity. You may feel moments of unfamiliar stillness where nothing feels urgent. Do not rush to fill that space with activity. Stillness is where roots grow. Activity grows branches, but roots grow in silence. God is deepening what He has established so it can support what is coming. As you adjust, God is also refining how you interpret love. Love is no longer measured by intensity alone, but by consistency, safety, and alignment. Love that survives warfare learns how to breathe. It no longer needs to prove itself through sacrifice alone. It expresses itself through faithfulness. Love never fails. 1 Corinthians 13:8 does not mean love never struggles. It means love remains when struggle ends. You are discovering that peace exposes motives. In chaos, survival masks intention. In peace, the heart is revealed. God may gently surface areas where fear once disguised itself as wisdom, where control masqueraded as care, where self-protection pretended to be discernment. This is not accusation, it is refinement. Refinement continues even after victory. Do not be alarmed if God invites conversations you once avoided, honesty you once postponed, vulnerability you once delayed. Victory creates room for truth. Truth preserves what victory secures. God is not undoing anything, He is strengthening it. You are also learning how to respond to joy without suspicion. After prolonged battle, joy can feel unfamiliar, even unsafe. But joy is not a distraction from responsibility. It is fuel for endurance. The joy of the Lord is your strength. Nehemiah 8:10. Strength now comes from joy, not adrenaline. As this continues, you will notice that your prayers are becoming simpler, not shorter, but clearer. Fewer words, more agreement, less explanation, more trust. Jesus warned against vain repetition, not because prayer is unimportant, but because relationship does not require constant justification. God is also teaching you how to discern spiritual signals without becoming hyper-aware. Hyper-awareness is a residue of warfare. Discernment is calm awareness rooted in peace. One drains energy, the other conserves it. God is training your senses to rest while remaining alert. There will be moments when the enemy attempts to provoke nostalgia for struggle, because struggle created identity. But your identity is not a warrior alone. It is a son or daughter at rest in covenant. David fought many battles, but he also wrote psalms in fields, rested in palaces, and worshipped in peace. Warfare is not the highest expression of faith. Rest is. You are also stepping into a season where God trusts you with others' hearts. People may seek your counsel, your presence, your words. Speak from peace, not from past pain. Speak from wisdom, not from wounds. What you release now will shape environments. God is also aligning timing in ways that confirm His resolution. Things that once felt misaligned begin to synchronize. Conversations happen without force. Decisions feel mutual rather than contested. This is not coincidence, it is order. God is a God of order, not confusion. 1 Corinthians 14:33. You may still have moments where old emotional patterns attempt to reassert themselves. Do not condemn yourself for noticing them. Awareness is part of healing. Simply choose alignment again. Healing is not linear, but it is directional. As you move forward, you will recognize that this victory has expanded your capacity. You can now carry deeper connection without fear of loss. You can handle complexity without panic. You can navigate disagreement without feeling threatened. These are fruits of maturity, not just relief. God is also teaching you how to bless without bargaining. In battle, blessing often feels like a strategy for protection. In peace, blessing becomes overflow. Overflow is the sign of abundance. You are no longer asking God to prove Himself. You are walking as evidence that He already has. Your life becomes quite a testimony, less dramatic but more convincing. Stability speaks. This season will require attentiveness to small obediences. Big breakthroughs are maintained by small disciplines, consistent prayer, honest communication, gentle correction, intentional rest. Neglecting small things is how victories erode. Honoring them is how they eat. God is also recalibrating your expectations of yourself. You no longer need to perform strength. You are allowed to be human without fearing collapse. Weakness does not threaten what God has established. My strength is made perfect. In weakness remains true even after victory. You may find that God invites laughter back into spaces that once held tears. Laughter is not denial, it is release. Heaven rejoices over restoration. Joy is holy. As this chapter continues to unfold, you will sense that God is not rushing outcomes. He is building foundations. Foundations are unseen, but they determine longevity. What is being built now is meant to last. You are not returning to who you were before the battle. You are moving forward as someone who has learned trust, patience, discernment, and restraint. These qualities will shape every future season. God is not asking you to relive the war to appreciate the peace. Peace is appreciated by presence, not by memory. Stay present. Presence keeps alignment intact. And as you remain present, attentive, obedient, and at rest, the work God has completed will continue to express itself through consistency, clarity, and quiet confidence, allowing love to grow without fear, decisions to form without pressure, and the path ahead to unfold steadily, step by step, guided by trust rather than urgency, anchored by peace rather than resistance. As God continues to lead you forward into what He has already secured, established, and prepared. And in this steady unfolding, you are beginning to understand that God's idea of winning is very different from the world's idea of victory. The world celebrates conquest, dominance, and visible triumph. God celebrates alignment, obedience, and hearts restored to peace. When He says you won, He is not merely referring to the outcome you can see, but to the posture you maintained while you waited. You did not lose your integrity. You did not abandon your faith. You did not allow bitterness to rewrite your character. That alone is a victory that cannot be reversed. There were moments when you wanted God to hurry, to intervene publicly, to make the outcome obvious so the struggle would finally stop. But God was more interested in making the foundation secure than making the resolution quick. Quick victories impress people, rooted victories last. God builds for permanence, not applause. You are now learning how to carry peace without becoming passive. Peace is not disengagement, it is controlled confidence. It is knowing when to act and when to remain still. It is knowing that you no longer need to chase clarity because clarity has found you. This is why your spirit feels calmer even when circumstances are still unfolding. The war was about authority, not timing, and authority has already been settled. God is also teaching you that love after warfare requires intentional humility. Victory can quietly tempt the heart toward superiority, toward subtle pride, toward the belief that endurance alone earns entitlement. But God keeps you grounded by reminding you that grace, not effort, carried you through. By grace you've been saved through faith, not by works, so that no one can boast, Ephesians 2:8-9. Grace does not diminish your endurance, it explains how you survived it. As you move forward, you will notice that God is refining how you interpret spiritual signals. Not every challenge is an attack. Not every delay is resistance. Sometimes life is simply unfolding in layers. Discernment now requires patience more than intensity. God is teaching you to ask what is required here, rather than what is wrong here. This shift preserves peace. You are also discovering that spiritual maturity does not eliminate emotion, it regulates it. You still feel deeply, but feelings no longer lead decisions. Emotions inform wisdom rather than override it. Jesus wept, yet he remained obedient. He felt sorrow, yet he stayed aligned. Feeling deeply is not immaturity. Being ruled by feelings is. This season will test your ability to remain gentle in places where you once had to be firm. Gentleness is often harder than strength because it requires trust. Strength protects boundaries. Gentleness invites connection. God is teaching you when each is required. You may notice moments when the enemy attempts to reintroduce doubt by reminding you of past pain. But memory no longer has authority over direction. Memory can instruct, but it does not command. God redeems memory so it becomes wisdom rather than fear. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. Isaiah 4:3-18 does not mean erase it. It means do not live there. God is also teaching you how to forgive yourself for moments you wish you had handled differently. Self-forgiveness is part of healing. You did the best you could with the understanding you had at the time. Growth does not punish the past, it learns from it. Condemnation has no place in a heart God has already restored. As peace stabilizes, you will feel more comfortable being present rather than planning escape routes. During warfare, the mind always looks for exits. In peace, the heart settles into presence. Presence allows connection to deepen naturally. God is also restoring your imagination. During prolonged struggle, imagination becomes guarded, even pessimistic, because hope felt risky. Now God invites you to dream again, but with wisdom rather than urgency. Dreams rooted in God do not pressure time, they trust it. You are learning that love does not require constant proof once trust is established. Trust reduces the need for reassurance. Reassurance will still come, but it will feel like affirmation rather than survival. This is how secure love grows. God is also adjusting how you interpret effort. Effort now feels cooperative rather than resistant. You are no longer pushing against opposition, you are building with alignment. This makes effort sustainable. You may find that God draws your attention to small joys, simple conversations, quiet moments, ordinary blessings. These are not distractions from purpose, they are confirmations that peace has returned. God often restores joy quietly, not dramatically. As this chapter continues, God is teaching you how to be faithful without intensity. Intensity was required in battle. Faithfulness is required in peace. Faithfulness looks ordinary, but it produces extraordinary longevity. You are also learning to recognize when to rest emotionally, not just physically. Emotional rest comes from trust. Trust allows the heart to stop bracing. God is healing layers of emotional tension you did not even realize you were carrying. God may also invite you to extend grace to others who did not understand your journey. Grace does not require agreement. It releases resentment. Carrying resentment after victory only reopens wounds that God already healed. You are becoming someone who can hold love and wisdom together. Love without wisdom becomes naive. Wisdom without love becomes cold. God is balancing both within you. This season will continue to reveal that God's timing was not about withholding good, but about protecting it. What He protected now has room to flourish. Flourishing requires patience more than pressure. You are not being asked to explain the miracle, you are being asked to steward it. Stewardship focuses forward, not backward. Stewardship asks, how do I honor what God has done, rather than how did it finally happen? As you walk forward, your life will quietly testify that God finishes what He starts, that obedience is never wasted, that waiting refines rather than weakens, and that battles do end when God says they are over. You are living proof that faithfulness outlasts resistance. And as you continue to move in the settled rhythm, listening, obeying, resting, and building without fear, the peace God has established will continue to deepen, the love He has preserved will continue to mature, and the path ahead will continue to open with clarity rather than conflict, with trust rather than tension, allowing this story to keep unfolding in alignment with His will, His timing, and His purpose, step by steady step. As the journey carries on and as this journey continues to stretch forward, God is also retraining how you interpret resistance when it appears in subtle forms. Not all resistance now is opposition. Some of it is simply transition friction. Movement always creates sensation. Growth always feels like tension at first. Do not mistake adjustment for attack. The enemy does not have the authority he once had, but your humanity is still learning a new rhythm, and rhythms take time to settle. You are learning to trust God even when everything feels calm, which is often harder than trusting Him when everything feels urgent. Crisis forces dependence. Peace requires choice. In peace, you must decide daily to trust without adrenaline, to pray without panic, to listen without fear. This is the discipline of maturity. God is also teaching you how to discern between intuition shaped by wisdom and anxiety shaped by memory. Anxiety rushes, pressures, and catastrophizes. Wisdom pauses, observes, and waits for confirmation. Anxiety feels loud and urgent. Wisdom feels steady and grounded. God is sharpening your ability to tell the difference so that your decisions are no longer driven by echoes of old battles. You may notice that your body responds differently now. You breathe deeper. You pause longer before responding. Your reactions soften. These are not small changes, they are signs that peace is becoming embodied. The mind may accept victory first, but the body often follows last. God is healing you holistically, not just spiritually. There may still be moments when doubt tries to whisper that this peace is temporary, that something will eventually go wrong. But peace grounded in God does not depend on ideal conditions. It rests on divine authority. Jesus slept through a storm not because the storm was harmless, but because He knew who was with Him. Peace is not denial of reality, it is confidence in presence. God is also teaching you how to receive without guilt. After long seasons of striving, receiving can feel uncomfortable, even undeserved. But grace is not earned, it is received. You do not dishonor God by enjoying what He has resolved. You honor Him by trusting that His work is sufficient. You are learning that love no longer needs to be defended constantly. Defense was necessary when interference existed. Now wisdom sustains what defense once protected. Wisdom knows when to speak, when to wait, when to act, and when to simply remain present. Presence often does more than persuasion. As peace settles deeper, God is also refining how you see yourself. You are no longer identifying as someone waiting for breakthrough, but as someone stewarding alignment. This shift changes how you approach life. You stop chasing confirmation and start walking with assurance. Assurance is quiet, but it is powerful. You may find that God invites you into new levels of responsibility, not heavier but broader. Responsibility after victory looks like care, consistency, and intentionality. God entrusts more to those who have proven they can remain faithful without chaos driving them. There may also be moments when you feel exposed without the armor you once wore. Armor provided safety, but it also created distance. Peace invites openness. Openness requires courage. God does not remove armor without also providing covering. His covering is trust, wisdom, and discernment. You are learning that faith after victory looks less dramatic but more stable. Stability does not trend well in emotional spaces, but it produces fruit. Fruit grows slowly, quietly, and steadily. Jesus compared the kingdom to seeds for a reason. Seeds do not announce themselves, they grow. God is also aligning your expectations of others. You are learning to release the need for people to fully understand your journey. Understanding is not required for alignment. God did not ask everyone to agree with Noah, He asked Noah to obey. Obedience does not need consensus. You are becoming more comfortable letting God be your vindication. Vindication does not always arrive through explanation, it arrives through fruit. When fruit appears, explanations become unnecessary. You may notice that God is simplifying your life. Complexity often hides anxiety. Simplicity reveals trust. God removes excess so essence can flourish. This is not loss, it is refinement. You are also learning how to navigate moments of silence without filling them with noise. Silence is where clarity deepens. Noise often distracts from what God is saying quietly. Silence after victory is sacred ground. As your spirit remains settled, God may bring moments of testing, not to challenge the victory, but to strengthen discernment. Testing reveals what has truly shifted. You will notice that where you once reacted, you now pause. Where you once panicked, you now pray. Where you once assumed, you now wait. These are signs of real transformation. God is also teaching you that love does not need to rush to prove itself anymore. Proof belongs to the battlefield. Peace belongs to cultivation. Cultivation takes time, care, and patience. Rushed growth collapses under pressure. You may feel God inviting you to extend trust incrementally, not recklessly. Trust is built through consistency, not intensity. God honors gradual trust as much as bold faith. As this season unfolds, you may also encounter moments where joy feels almost unfamiliar, like trying on clothes you have not worn in a long time. Joy may feel quiet, even subtle, but it is genuine. God often restores joy gently, not explosively. You are also learning to recognize when your spirit needs rest, even if your schedule allows activity. Rest is not inactivity, it is alignment. Rest says, I trust God to hold what I release. God may also begin to highlight future assignments, not as pressure, but as possibility. Possibility now feels hopeful instead of overwhelming. That is because peace creates capacity. You are discovering that you can now hold uncertainty without fear. Not everything needs to be resolved immediately for peace to remain. Peace trusts that God will reveal what is needed when it is needed. This season will continue to shape your character in quiet ways. You will become more patient with others' processes because you remember your own. You will become more compassionate toward weakness because you understand grace. You will become more grounded in truth because you have seen God's faithfulness firsthand. God is also anchoring you deeper in His Word, not as a weapon against fear, but as nourishment for growth. Scripture now feels like confirmation rather than defense. The Word becomes a companion, not a shield alone. You may find that your prayers become more conversational, less formal. Relationship deepens when fear subsides. God invites closeness now, not urgency. As you continue forward, you will notice that your sense of direction feels steadier. Not everything is clear, but nothing feels chaotic. Clarity unfolds step by step, not all at once. God is teaching you to value progress over perfection. Progress is faithful movement. Perfectionism is fear dressed as excellence. God values obedience more than flawlessness. You are also learning that love after victory requires humility to keep learning. Victory does not mean arrival, it means permission to build. Building requires teachability. God may bring moments that stir. Etch your patience again, but these will feel different. They will not threaten peace, they will refine it. Refinement is gentle when foundation is secure. As this path continues, you will sense that God is not finished revealing the fullness of what He has resolved. He often reveals outcome gradually so the heart can sustain it. Sudden revelation can overwhelm. Gradual unfolding nurtures gratitude. You are not waiting for peace to end, you are learning how to live within it. Peace is not a phase, it is a posture. And as you remain attentive, obedient, grounded, and open, the work God has completed will continue expressing itself through consistency, trust, and quiet strength, allowing each next step to unfold naturally, without striving, without fear, without the weight of old battles. As the story continues moving forward under His guidance, His timing, and His steady hand. And in this unfolding peace, God is also teaching you how to live without constantly checking behind you. During seasons of warfare, you learn to stay alert, to watch for signs, to guard your heart closely. That vigilance was necessary then. But now God is inviting you to face forward. Forward vision requires trust. It assumes that what is behind you no longer has permission to chase you. Forget what is behind and strain toward what is ahead. Philippians 3:13 is not a command to erase memory, but an invitation to redirect focus. You are discovering that peace changes how you hear God's voice. In chaos, His voice often comes as instruction. In peace, His voice comes as companionship. He walks with you rather than constantly redirecting you. The relationship deepens when fear no longer interrupts intimacy. God is also refining your understanding of love. Love is no longer something you brace for, wondering if it will be taken away. Love becomes something you steward with care and reverence. Fearful love asks, will this last? Mature love asks, how do I honor what God has entrusted? There will be moments when your mind tries to replay old scenarios, not because they are returning, but because familiarity feels safer than the unknown. The known pain sometimes feels less risky than unfamiliar peace. But God gently reminds you that safety is not found in predictability, it is found in presence. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. Psalm 23:1 is not poetry alone. It is reality. As peace becomes your environment, God also begins to address subtle habits formed in survival mode. Over-explaining, overthinking, overgiving. These were coping mechanisms, not character flaws. God does not shame you for them, He heals you from needing them. Healing looks like choosing simplicity where you once chose excess effort. You are learning how to listen without immediately preparing a response. True listening is an act of trust. It says, I do not need to defend myself in advance. This kind of listening deepens connection and reveals wisdom. God is also teaching you to allow. W, joy to exist without immediately questioning it. Joy does not require justification. It does not need permission. It is evidence of healing. The enemy often tries to make joy feel irresponsible, but God delights in restoring laughter. A joyful heart is good medicine. Proverbs 17:22. You may notice that your prayers shift from asking God to fix things to asking Him how to steward them. This shift reflects maturity. It means you trust God's work enough to participate in it. Partnership replaces desperation. God is also restoring your sense of identity beyond the battle. You were not created merely to overcome, you were created to cultivate. Cultivation requires patience, consistency, and presence. It is quieter than victory, but more enduring. You may find that God draws your attention to areas of your life that were neglected while you were fighting. Creativity, rest, friendships, purpose beyond survival. This is not distraction, it is restoration. God returns what warfare temporarily delayed. As peace deepens, you will notice that discernment becomes more intuitive. You no longer analyze everything to exhaustion. You sense alignment or misalignment more quickly. This is not intuition alone. It is wisdom matured through obedience. God is also teaching you that boundaries can now be maintained without emotional charge. Boundaries do not need anger to be effective. Calm clarity carries authority. Jesus did not argue with every critic. He walked in truth and let fruit sprout. There may be moments when others project their unresolved battles onto you. This does not mean you must re-enter warfare. Compassion does not require participation. You can remain loving without absorbing chaos. You are learning how to trust God with timing even when excitement tempts impatience. Excitement is good, but impatience disrupts rhythm. God's timing is not slow, it is precise. What arrives too early becomes heavy. What arrives on time becomes sustainable. God is also reminding you that obedience now looks like consistency, not sacrifice. Sacrifice was necessary during conflict. Consistency is required during peace. Faithfulness in ordinary days builds extraordinary outcomes. You may notice that God invites you to celebrate small milestones. Celebration anchors gratitude. Gratitude protects peace. When gratitude fades, entitlement grows. God teaches you to mark moments so your heart remains humble. You are also learning that silence does not mean absence. God often works most deeply when He speaks least. Silence allows trust to mature without constant reassurance. As you continue walking, you may sense God shifting your influence. Influence after victory is quieter but deeper. People may not know your full story, but they will feel your steadiness. Peace is persuasive without explanation. God is also teaching you to forgive others without needing reconciliation to validate forgiveness. Forgiveness frees you. Reconciliation requires mutual readiness. You are irresponsible for obedience, not outcomes. You may find that God asks you to release expectations you once held tightly. Expectations can quietly become idols if they replace trust. God replaces rigid expectation with flexible faith. Your confidence now comes from alignment, not affirmation. Affirmation feels good, but alignment sustains purpose. When you know you are walking with God, applause becomes optional. God is also revealing that spiritual authority does not announce itself. Authority rests quietly. It does not strive to be noticed. It is recognized by fruit and consistency. You are learning to let God interrupt your plans without anxiety. Interruption no longer feels like threat, it feels like redirection. Redirection assumes trust in the guide. As this season continues, you may notice that your heart becomes softer without becoming weaker. Softness allows connection. Strength maintains boundaries. God weaves both together. You are also discovering that hope no longer feels fragile. Hope rooted in God does not fear disappointment because it trusts God's character more than outcomes. Hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured out into our hearts. Romans 5:5. God may also invite you to mentor or encourage others who are still in battle. Your peace becomes testimony, not through preaching but through presence. People notice when someone has walked through fire and emerged gentle. You are learning that peace requires maintenance, not protection. Maintenance looks like prayer, gratitude, rest, and obedience. Protection belongs to God. As the road stretches ahead, you will sense that clarity comes when needed, not in advance. God reveals light for the next step, not the entire path. This keeps dependence alive without fear. You are no longer asking God to prove Himself. You are remembering what He has already done. Memory becomes confidence instead of doubt. And as you continue walking in this steady rhythm, listening, resting, obeying, trusting, you will find that what once felt like an ending has become a beginning. What once felt like survival has become stewardship. And what once felt like warfare has transformed into wisdom, allowing the journey to keep unfolding gently, faithfully, and purposefully, step by step, moment by moment, under the guidance of the one who finishes what He starts. As the story continues forward without rushing, without fear, without closure, yet still unfolding. And so, as this sacred chapter settles into its rightful place, understand this truth deeply and without hesitation. What God has resolved cannot be undone by memory, by fear, or by delay. The battle did not end because circumstances suddenly became easy. It ended because God declared it finished. Heaven does not reverse its verdicts. What was fought over has now been secured, not by striving, not by force, but by faith, obedience, and alignment with divine order. You are not stepping into something fragile. You are standing upon something established. The peace you carry is not accidental, and the love preserved through the fire was not luck. It was purpose guarded by God Himself. What survived warfare was meant to endure stewardship. What endured waiting was designed for longevity. Nothing about this outcome is temporary when God authors it. Let your heart rest without apology. Let joy return without suspicion. Let trust grow without fear of collapse. You no longer need to rehearse the struggle to justify the victory. The evidence is already written in who you have become. Strength without hardness, wisdom without bitterness, love without desperation, faith without panic. These are the fruits that prove God was present all along. Carry this peace forward with humility, not hesitation. Walk gently but confidently. Love carefully but freely. Build patiently but faithfully. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right where grace intended you to be. The same God who fought for you now walks with you, and the same hand that shielded you in battle will guide you in peace. What was once contested is now covered. What was once uncertain is now aligned. What was once fragile is now anchored. And as you continue forward, let your life quietly testify. Not through noise, not through explanation, but through consistency and fruit. That when God declares a battle over, it is truly over. And what remains is not survival, but purpose, peace, and a future unfolding exactly as heaven intended.